Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria. Today's presentation is about rebuilding your life. So, the first tip I have is to listen to your inner voice. Starting over can happen when a life change comes along or a realization that you need to go in a different direction due to unforeseen circumstances or due to an internal compass developed over time. I find this to be so important because right before I had to start over in my own life, I had this internal voice telling me, hey, you're doing great. You're building a lot of great habits. You're going in a good direction, but I need you to kind of pivot. And so I listened to that voice no matter what was going on around me, even if I felt misunderstood. I personally have a relationship with God, and so I just leaned into my prayer life and just asked to be guided every step of the way. I think that's very, very important. It's just to quiet out the noise and just be still and listen to your inner voice. What is so hard about starting over? So there can be uncertainty about what to expect. You really don't know. Maybe you only know the next best step. And it's so hard to start something when you don't know what the finish line will look like. Sometimes you lose everything known to you and you lose people known to you as well, and that can feel devastating. I know when I had my journey of starting over, numerous things happened that I did not expect or that I didn't see coming. And I think feeling knocked off my feet when I couldn't prepare was really, really difficult. So, when plans change, it's not always by choice. Sometimes things happen that are out of your control. And there is a grief attached to that because you have an idea of what you were expecting to happen, and then you had plans for that expectation. And so you have to start rebuilding yourself up and understanding that it's not a failure to have to start over. It's actually a new beginning, and it could be a part of a bigger and better plan for your life. So, what can make adapting to change a little bit easier? Seeing the positive is like my number one because there could be so many negative things attached to it. Wondering, will this work out? Why did this happen to me? This is unfair. A lot of those feelings I personally had. There were things that I felt like were just hurtful and painful. And I'm like, I don't feel like I deserve this, God. Why is this happening? But I think the adaptation got easier once I started to speak kindly to myself. I started to uplift myself a little bit more and associate it with people who could also encourage me. If people misunderstood or they weren't supportive, I just tried to not lean into that energy. I also became more willing to embrace something new because there was nothing I could do about anything other than that. It's not helpful for me to be, disappointed for too long because that means that I'm not able to move forward. And that's so important. You don't want to stay stuck. You want to be able to feel what you're feeling, but you also want to be able to take that, accept it, and be able to embrace what's next. The other tip I have is letting go of the perfect outcome. We just can't see the future. So it's really important to plan for an outcome that's favorable, but also be willing to be flexible with how that outcome comes about and the timeline and time frame at which it manifests for you. And then lastly, I want to say small steps over leaps. Some days you're going to be leaping, jumping, moving really fast. Other days you're going to be just tiptoeing just throughout the day, just trying to make it from hour to hour. And so you want to be able to understand that that too is progress. The fact that you're still moving is progress. So always keep moving. What support do you need? So when you're going through a huge change, life change, you will need support. So identify outlets that work for you. This can be a supportive community through a group, therapy, supportive family or friends, a church community, or other beneficial tools like journaling, your favorite hobbies, and self-care activities, eating healthy, um, walking, taking care of your health, going to all of your appointments, and just overall making sure that you feel good about yourself. The other tip that I have for you is just to remember that healing takes time. Be patient with the time it takes to make progress. Be consistent with practicing healthy habits. Be patient with seeing the change that you seek. Say no to the things of the past. Sometimes when we are going about change, we notice things that can be improved upon, and that's a wonderful thing. That's a part of growth. You want to ensure that you're attaching yourself to this new version of yourself and that you're not falling into the trap of old habits or old people or old things that no longer fit your life. Next, I want to say celebrate your accomplishments. Acknowledge how far you've come. Sometimes we don't really know how long the journey will be of transformation. So it's not always going to be that, oh, my transformation took place within 1 or 2 weeks. Sometimes it's months, sometimes it's years. So that journey is a part of life. Keep track of the things you did to change your life and speak kindly to yourself during the journey. It's really incredible to even start. There are so many people who know they need to make a change, or they were forced to make a change, but they couldn't move past whatever happened. And, my heart goes out to any individual who's in that position because definitely I could have been there myself. It's devastating when things happen to you that feel traumatic, but you have to be able to try your best to move forward. Forward movement is good, even if the movement is just small, tiny steps. So the fact that you are courageous enough to take action is a huge deal. Huge deal. I mean, you deserve a great big party, even if it's a party of one, because you want to make sure that you're not minimizing what you have done, because that's going to help you keep going. It's going to help you remember that, hey, I did this, I'm doing this, and I'm doing a great job. So everything that you are building is standing on a solid foundation that you built. You did this, and you did it with the help of God, maybe people who love you and care about you, or even if you don't have anyone, there's some sort of inner strength and inner guidance happening. So give thanks for where that's coming from. One thing I want to say about that is even in times when I felt alone, there was always a stranger or something, a message in nature, a message in a person that I did not know that encouraged me that day. So even when you are feeling alone, always look for that. Look for that. And then there will be times when you will be able to be that for other people. But when you can't, it's okay to receive. And this is super important. Get some rest and take care often. As you set goals and achieve them, you will feel excited, but you'll also need to take rest. Picking up heavy things so that you can truly be free from them, it can be exhausting. You have not just been standing still. Each day you've been actively working. And so sleep when you can, take care of your mind, body, and soul as often as needed. And those are all my tips. Thank you so much. I just want to say rebuilding your life is hard, but you can do it. Remember why you started and don't give up. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. Please share it, like, subscribe. Just encourage one another. If you know someone that could feel encouraged by this, feel free to share it. And I hope to be able to put out more encouraging content.